I'll be having very interesting guests who have personal stories to tell to the world. Welcome to MNB World Talk Show. Hello there, welcome to MNB World Talk Show. Today's episode is about a proud Mongolian. Our guest has done his doctorate degree when he's 23 years old, only 23 years old, and he has joined Cambridge at that year when he's 23 years old again. And he's a scientist of Mongolia, one of the most known celebrity scientists in Mongolia. Let's welcome the anthropologist and professor at National University of Mongolia, Dr. Bumochir.
Thank you.
Hello, thank you for...
Thanks for inviting.
Well,
and
thanks
for the brilliant introduction about me. It was a bit...
Was it okay?
Yeah, well, it was good, thank you. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you for making time for our talk show.
You're welcome.
You are busy, I know you are busy.
Yes, indeed, indeed.
Okay, let's just start talking about your childhood. How was your childhood?
I think my childhood is similar to many Mongolian child's in many ways, but of course there are some differences. I grew up with my grandparents.
Grandparents, right? Yes.
Most Mongolians, as you know, usually spend time with their grandparents when they're a child. And until my age of 7, basically, I've been living with my father's mother and father in the outskirts of Mongolia.
Until the age of 7?
Until the age of 7, what we call the Ger district now. I mean, all the pollutions are coming from there, blah, blah, blah. So many things happening, but this is the place where I have so much memories about my childhood and about my grandparents. It's a place called Chingilte.
Chingilte district.
Chingilte district.
As of today, right?
As of today. Yeah. It was really outside. It's not outside Ulaanbaatar, but it's outside Ulaanbaatar.
Okay.
Basically.
Did your grandparents have herds, animals?
That's a good question, because many elderly people, my grandparents moved from the countryside to Ulaanbaatar, and they were herders. And then when they moved to Ulaanbaatar, they decided to keep few numbers of livestock, some cows, to have some milk for their tea, for example. Elderly people can't drink tea without milk.
So you were not, well, your childhood was not entirely nomad childhood, but like half.
My father's childhood was entirely nomad, and mine was kind of, I wouldn't say nomad, because nomad is more than that. Yes. But I have some experience with livestock, with herding. I mean, although it's like a small, very tiny amount of livestock, it is a good experience.
Well, from your very early childhood, you have experienced international environment. Tell us about it. You've moved to Paris or France?
Yeah, that was a quite a radical change to me for a 7-year-old. When I was, I mean, I didn't go to any kindergarten or any, like I didn't have any formal like preschool education. My father had a job offer at the university in Paris, Paris 10 University, and the whole family moved to Paris when I was 7. And then when we moved to Paris, I mean, from that outskirts of Ulaanbaatar, from my grandparents, I moved with my family, with my parents and sister and the brother to Paris. When we went to Paris, that's 1985.
1985.
We were not
during the socialist era.
Exactly, during the socialist era, and we considered Paris as capitalist country. It's a Cold War narrative.
Right.
So when I first heard that we're going to Paris, I was like, they shoot people in the street today, or something.
So
like
you had different kind of.
I had and then my kind of. Somehow I thought that we can't even look through the window. All the curtains should be closed. Otherwise, when you like, someone might shoot you, something like this. Imagine like, and then when we went to Paris, everything was of course completely different. But we were not allowed to go to French secondary schools or primary schools.
Right, because of the Russian influence.
Because of the Soviet influence.
Soviet influence.
And we couldn't, because it's a capitalist country school, and you're not allowed to obtain capitalist country education. So we were permitted to go only to socialist country schools, and of course the only school which was available was the school of the Soviet embassy in Paris. So that's where I first entered school there.
From our study here,
Yeah.
that you were a not so great student in your
Exactly,
throughout your middle school,
That's
junior school, and high school.
that's right.
Your grades were totally bad.
That's
So,
true.
okay, and then while your father is very well known scientist, how did your father influence you in your career, in your academic career?
I mean, if I
we have to talk about him.
Yes, if I have to name one person who influenced me the most to have this career, is actually my father. Because I didn't show much interest to other subjects, like hard science subjects like math, physics or chemistry. I didn't really show much interest. But my interest mostly lied in the field like humanities and social science fields. Since my secondary school, my father took me to the fieldworks he's been doing in the early 1990s. So from my age of about 15 and 16, I was in the countryside with my father, helping him to collect some field research materials for his academic research. And that's how I was first exposed to, let's say, some kind of academic field research methodologies and experiences. It was actually fascinating to go to the countryside, meet different people, and learn local culture, or learn what we call the traditional culture.
Well, when you started your university lives after your high school, you chose Mongolian literature, and then after that you chose anthropology. But when was the turning point that the focus on the literature shifted to anthropology?
In Mongolia, we didn't have much anthropology. But we have another field which was studying culture, and that was philology, what we call study of language and literature. And my father, by training, he's a philologist, and then for his research, he spent lots of time to do research on Mongolian different customs, rituals, and cultural aspects, and literature. And then following my father, because I didn't show other interests, somehow my father decided to help me to find something, and by following him with or without intention, I don't actually know, somehow I got into his work.
But you enjoyed?
I enjoyed, that's the thing.
Thoroughly enjoyed.
And then also, besides enjoying, I didn't know what else to do, really.
Okay.
Like I didn't.
Well, you were a bad grade
yeah,
student.
exactly, I was a bad student. So anyways, I didn't have any other, let's say, choices.
Okay.
So yeah, why not doing this? I mean, this sounds good. And then following my father, I started studying philology in Mongolia. And then because of my bad grades in the secondary school, I couldn't become a student at the National University of Mongolia, for example, like big universities. Instead, I went to a private university, private institute. They don't even call it a university.
Right.
Institute of Philology. And then following my father, because of the changes happened in the 1990s, many cultural, let's say, aspects revived, including shamanism.
Including shamanism, right.
And my father was impatient to study shamanism. Shamanism was suppressed before 1990s, and after 1990s, it kind of exploded. And then, following my father, I started doing field research on shamanism, and started meeting.
As you are a scientist, from my perspective, I'm the audience, right?
Yes.
When I look at the shamanism, well, there's a shaman. And it looks like some kind of spirit is in his or her body.
Yeah.
Spirit.
Yes.
We're talking about spirituality, not fact, science.
Yes.
Do you personally believe? Okay, I have to ask. Do you personally believe in those spirits? Are they acting out
Okay.
You're a scientist. You have to.
That's a tricky question, but I have to answer this question. As a scientist, I'm representing science, anthropology.
Yes.
It's difficult to say that those spirits exist because science haven't approved or either disapproved. They haven't approved nor disapproved whether those spirits actually exist or not.
It's in a limbo.
Exactly. So I'm not going there.
Okay.
But now I'm going to respond to your question as an individual, not a scientist,
Yes,
as just Bumochir.
Yes, that's what happens.
So not a scientific answer,
Okay, yes.
so personal answer. According to my experience in the last 20 or 20 some years, maybe almost 30, I personally believe that there is certain kind of existence of something which we can call invisible, whether you call it soul, God, or whatever. Something's there. Because interviewing or spending so much time with different shamans, having different, let's say, rituals, and going into trance and all those things, that experience left no way for me not to believe in it.
Let's put the shamanism aside.
Okay, we're moving forward. All right.
Yeah, we're moving forward. Okay. You've lived with Mongolians who live in one of the Chinese provinces. Hukhnor,
Qinghai in Chinese.
Qinghai Mongolians who were left from the Mongolian Empire. Is that
later? Yeah. Anyways, yes, lived there.
Am I right? I mean, I thought okay.
Not from the Mongol Empire, but from later, let's say, iterations.
Later,
yes. From around 1740. Yeah. No, 1640.
17th century.
Yes.
Okay, you lived with them.
Yes, I lived with
for
them
a year. Did a research.
Yes, and that is because of my PhD field research in Cambridge.
Because of your PhD.
Exactly. When I came to Cambridge for my masters, for my masters I've been still working on ritual, on shamanic ritual, and for my PhD I decided to do a different research, and my supervisor and I decided to, we had to make a choice like where to go, and I didn't want to do my fieldwork in Mongolia because I've already done much, and I thought that I will do more research in Mongolia anyways. So using the opportunity, I thought that I should go abroad to look at least other Mongol groups outside Mongolia. And at that time, Mongols in Qinghai, in the northwest of China, they happened to be one of the least known Mongol groups.
How did you come to know about them? When was it? The first?
From books, history books.
From history books.
Because from history books, we know, most Mongolians know this film, Tsogtej, one of the important aristocratic persons, and there's a film about it. In that film, there's a depiction of the Qinghai Mongols there, fighting against Tsogtej. And then, although we have a history, when I was deciding to go there, we didn't know whether those people actually, how they are living. We didn't have much information about them.
Right.
And that's why I decided to go there.
Very interesting. Tell us about them. Do they still speak? They're inside China, not in Inner Mongolia.
Not in Inner, exactly.
Right?
That's the thing.
We have to make the distinction.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Not Inner Mongolians, but Qinghai. It's totally different province.
That's right.
But there are Mongolians
That's
residing there.
Exactly.
For over how many?
350 some years, 70 years now.
Are they still speaking Mongolian?
The total population of the Mongols in Qinghai is about 80,000-90,000. And about 30 to 35,000 of them still speak Mongolian with a Oret dialect, like Western Mongolian dialect.
Oh, right. Oret
dialect. They speak very similarly to those who speak in Ofs, for example.
Right.
In Ofs province. So it's quite identical.
Thinking about the different nationals in China, there are almost 50 some
56,
nationals.
yes,
56. So I'm sure there are so many nationalities who are struggling with that.
Yes.
Within China.
Yes, that's right.
Interesting. Do they still live nomadic lifestyle?
Yes, that's a good point. I mean, those Mongols I studied, I lived with, They have we call them semi-nomadic because pasture is prioritized and it's fenced. So they move from one fence to another.
One fence to another fence. Okay.
But the good thing is, because of the population in Chincha is small, the fenced pasture is quite large to maintain some like 500 to 700 head of livestock, which is okay compared to many places in Inner Mongolia where the pasture is also fenced and privatized.
Besides your research, what was your feeling?
there is always two sides. Myself, the other is
academics
my.
are all in here.
They're all
But when you're a human, there's always
this subjective, emotional, biased self of mine,
and
which I can never get rid of course. But I try not to show that biased or subjective side of mine in my academic work. But this is a TV show. I have.
Okay.
I have this deep interest to learn more about different people call themselves or claim themselves to be Mongols outside Mongolia. And many Mongolian people, especially younger generation, not only younger generation, like many Mongolians actually develop such interest to find out like who are the other Mongols, like how do they live. So it was really emotional actually for me to spend about a year with the Mongols in Chincha.
You are a professor, you have students, you teach students, and you recently came from Cambridge.
UCL London, University College London.
University College of London. You came back from Cambridge, but now you are working as a professor at National. We've prepared a small package about Mongolian National University, how he's related to Mongolian National University and about his students. Let's take a look at it.
When I returned to Mongolia from my Cambridge studies in 2006, what I started doing is to change the content of the curriculum. Basically, I used what I learned in Cambridge and started teaching those courses to my students. And one of them is political anthropology, the course which I've just taught to the year one students. And since then, for example, currently in our department, in the Department of Anthropology and Archaeology, we have a large portion of, let's say, Cambridge anthropology content, which I learned back in 2000s, and then which I learned more when I returned to Cambridge later after I graduated from Cambridge, and then later I learned when I've been doing my postdoctoral studies at UCL. So the main idea is basically for us to keep myself updated and then provide this knowledge to my students. This is my department. This is the Department of Anthropology and Archaeology. The department was established in 1989 as the Center for Mongol Studies, and then further evolved to the Department of Ethnography and then Ethnology. And from about 2000, we started changing the name to Social and Cultural Anthropology. But besides the Department of Social and Cultural Anthropology, we had another department which was Archaeology and Anthropology. And then only a few years ago, about 5-6 years ago probably, those two departments merged. So this is the merged version of the department, including physical anthropology, archaeology, and social and cultural anthropology. So the name of the current department is Anthropology and Archaeology, where I work. My affiliation to this department starts from about 2006, since I graduated from Cambridge. Before, I've been teaching in a different department because of my background on Mongolian philology. It's upstairs, Department of Literature, and I used to teach there Mongolian folklore, oral literature, Mongolian ancient literature, and then from that field, philology, I shifted to anthropology and I had to change my affiliation to this department as well. And I think we produce, let's say, undergraduate students And master students, we have a master's program and the PhD program. And in all together, I think we have now about 50 to, we usually have 50 to 100 students. I'm not exactly sure the exact number at the moment because I joined the department only like a month ago. Yeah, that's the brief introduction about my department.
Through our talk show, we will bring you entertaining personal talks with certain individuals. These individuals will be divided in two categories. Number one is I Am Mongolian. In this category, guests will be proud Mongolians who have stories to tell to the world. Number two is I Love Mongolia. Through these talks, we will introduce expats and non-Mongolians who are related to Mongolia one way or another. Heartfelt stories of their love affair with Mongolia, the land of blue sky. Well, we are talking about here Cambridge like as if it's a supermarket that you just go outside and get in there, get something out, pay some money. But no, Cambridge has a very high, high requirement, academic requirement. How did you get into Cambridge?
I guess I was just lucky.
Ah, come on. Okay, in order to be lucky, you have to be ready for luck, right? How did you prepare? What was the process?
It was actually unbelievable.
Okay.
I mean, I first submitted my application form probably in 1997 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
When I was spending some time in Germany as a research student, I first learned about Cambridge and I first decided to submit application forms there. Mm-hmm. And I submitted application forms probably like 2-3 times. And I couldn't even get
2-3 times?
Yes.
Okay.
It was really tough. First, it's my language requirement. My English wasn't really good. I couldn't get this IELTS score 7 something. Mm-hmm. And then there's other thing is funding. Mm-hmm. It's difficult to find full funding. The last thing is professional, like essays and other things.
So you submitted. You tried two.
Exactly. I failed like 3 times. Yeah, I failed like 2 times, and the third application was approved. Mm-hmm. So after like submitting twice for about 3 years, finally in 2000, I was finally accepted. And I got some funding. And of course I had lots of support from my professors at Cambridge, for example, Professor Caroline Humphrey, who decided to supervise my work.
Most recent work that you have done in Cambridge for the last 3 years, you recently came back to Mongolia.
At UCL.
Oh, yes. In UK.
Yes, in the UK. UCL, University College London. I went to UCL in 2015 to do my postdoctorate research, and my postdoctoral research this time wasn't about shamanism and it wasn't about Mongols in Qinghai, but it was about current issues in Mongolia, which is a conflict between environmental protesters and gold mining companies, and how the government, policymakers and the law is trying to intervene or trying to find a solution to this conflict.
Okay.
And according to the contract, I had to produce a monograph, which I did. It's only a draft, and I sent it to my publisher, and now it's in the review process. So hopefully in 1 or 2 years it will be out.
Published?
Published in the UK.
In the UK, wow. You have done also a TV program, TV show. Let's say not a show, but a TV program about Mongolians residing outside of Mongolia, which is called Zanshlinghilhe, if we literally translate it.
Chain of
customs.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Tell us about it. How many episodes have you done, and are you planning to do it more?
I mean, this TV program, which is funded by the Mongol TV, one of the major TV channels in Mongolia. They've been
private TV channels,
yes,
right?
Yes. And the idea of this TV program is to depict different group of people who claim to be Mongols, and we don't know much about them. Because Mongolians, we have a large history. And because of the large history and conquest, we have different group of Mongols or people remained in the different parts of the world who now are residents of different countries or different states. For example, in China, Russia, Central Asian states, Afghanistan, India, Pakistan. I can name like dozens of these countries.
India?
India.
That far?
Nepal.
Wow.
So I made two major seasons. One is about Mongols in Chingha, where I worked, and the other is about Sartkalmyk Mongols in Kyrgyzstan.
Kyrgyzstan.
And they are all, I mean, this is all related to my field of anthropology, which we call visual anthropology or ethnographic documentaries. So you basically ethnographically document those people and show them. And I'm hoping to continue this program because this is really very much about my professional career as well.
Well, thank you very much. And my very last question. We have talked quite a while now. You are a proud Mongolian?
Do you mean? Yes, well, I am proud to be Mongolian.
No.
I am proud to be Mongolian. I'm proud to be here. Well, to a certain extent, probably, yes.
Okay, now I'm not going to ask about you, okay?
That's better.
Let me ask about Mongolia. What are you proud of about Mongolia? Try to be specific. Just one thing.
Very nice, humane character. Like many Mongolians still preserve it. This Mongolianness or humaneness.
Okay.
To be a very nice human being. We call this heart or sitkil in Mongolian.
We have that quality.
We have this quality. I can't translate it because it's a problem to translate the word Mongolian with sitkil. The closest can be heart.
Heart.
So we feel it when we go to the countryside. We many Mongolians and foreigners felt it. So there is something Mongolians.
I feel like when we try to translate sitkil, it is a combination of spirit and heart.
Not
Can it be? I mean, very soul. Oh, soul and heart. Soulful
you
heart.
may translate it this way, but
Okay,
the word sitkil comes from the word to think, sitkil, to think or realize.
Oh yeah.
This kind of good-heartedness. I mean, because
You're proud of that.
I'm very proud of it. And it's really difficult to define and really difficult to explain exactly what it is. But we feel it.
Okay, feelings
Like
doesn't have to be explained all the time.
Exactly. But hopefully, when I say this, hopefully many Mongolians, even foreigners, if they have felt it, they might hopefully understand what I'm trying to say. This like really nice nature of Mongolian people.
Well, I mean, I'm surprised that scholar like you is out of words.
Well,
No, I mean,
we don't have
when
we
we
don't have
talk
to have
about-
words to.
When we talk about sitkil,
Yes.
okay,
Well,
I got it.
hopefully
I got it.
the audience.
You know,
hopefully
the
got
audience got it. Hopefully got it. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for inviting.
Thank you.
Great.
Well, that's all. We will see you next time with our brand new episode with another interesting guest. See you next time. Bye bye.